How would you like to improve your health and keep your family safe? You're listening to the Healthy Home Hacks podcast, where we firmly believe enjoying optimal health shouldn't be a luxury. Healthy Home Authorities and husband and wife team Ron and Lisa will help you create a home environment that will level up your health. It's time to hear from the experts. Listen in on honest conversations and gain the best tips and advice. If you're ready to dive in and improve your well-being and increase your energy, you're in the right place. All right, here are your hosts, bowel biologists, authors, media darlings, vicarious vegans, and avocado aficionados, Ron and Lisa Barris.
Hi guys, thank you for joining us today on Healthy Home Hacks. Be sure to sign up for our free 7-day Healthy at Home Challenge to learn how to stay safe, protect your loved ones, and improve your health today. Did I mention it's free? Plus, you get a really cool bonus gift called the Stay Safe at Home Checklist just for completing the entire week. Visit bit.ly/the Healthy at Home Challenge now. You and your family's health depends on it. All right, guys, if you love design, the color orange, and bright, bouncy blonde curls, you are gonna love our guest today. Like me, our guest has a panache for style, but not at the expense of one's health or a pocketbook for that matter. In the design world, a common phrase is form follows function. But if you're into eco-friendly flair as we are, you know that shape should follow sustainability. If your home, as I know all too well, doesn't heal, then what the heck is the point of it being beautiful? After all, we spend a whopping 90% of our time indoors with more and more people working from home these days. Tracy Metro, yes guys, that is her real name, studied set design at New York University's Tisch School of the Arts, but soon discovered budget bespoke interiors to be more of her life's calling.
And Tracy and her dame on a dime design sensibility have been seen on our own Netflix UK show called House Doctor, Oprah Winfrey's network's Homemade Simple, Hallmark's Home and Family, TLC's Design Spaces, HGTV's Posh Pets, HGTV.com's Extreme Small Spaces, The Today Show, Beverly Hills Pawn, I Live With My Mom and She Knows.com, Home Emergency, this is just to name a few. Additionally, Tracy has been a spokesperson for various Fortune 100 companies associated with home interiors and DIY makeovers.
Tracy is based in Los Angeles and enjoys spending time with her oh-so-fun and witty husband, Marty, and their street-fine chihuahua, Bernie, who is also my mom's nickname.
Isn't that funny?
Alongside Marty, Tracy purchases investment properties and renovates them into eye-catching fashion to attract the perfect tenant. You can also find her and her husband on their orange-inspired 1975 houseboat, the Retro Metro, where Tracy encourages folks to just pop on by anytime for one of her personally infused vodka cocktails. Please save us 2 seats, Tracy. And to learn more about Tracy and her Metro-inspired website, visit her at tracymetrodesigns.com.
So Tracy, welcome to the show.
It's almost as if I didn't write that intro and bio.
Almost.
I added a few things.
Okay, so by the way, it's not like I shared every show so you could read every show. My God, I sound like a total tool. That's because I am one.
You know what? You earned it. You got to promote it. We do the same thing. And, if someone leaves out your favorite show, you're like, ah.
So let's dive into it. So what are 10 things people can think about when renovating their homes and wanting to make green choices? And I mean eco-friendly, not just the color green. What do we do, Tracy?
Okay, so Ron and Lisa, I know you guys forever and a day, so it's good to see you. Although I don't know if your audience is looking at us, and so I fear that my face full of makeup has gone to waste.
Unfortunately.
So.
But yeah, you don't wake up like that?
You don't wake up that way? No?
Oh my God, I completely look like this all the time.
No, she looks gorgeous. So, she's in a flowery dress. Our listeners aren't going to get to see, although we will have a headshot of you. So, yeah.
Good. Okay, so Lise, when you and I were emailing back and forth about doing this, I was like, I don't know if I have anything unique and different and interesting to share. And you said, and I rattled off like 10 things really quickly that make a home, you like making eco-friendly choices. And then I thought to myself, people always need to rehear things because it's so easy to slip into old habits, right? So number one thing that I find to be the easiest switch when making over a home is low VOC paint. What does VOC stand for?
Volatile organic compounds.
Which means what? Your paint stinks to high heaven and gives you a headache.
And nausea and vomiting and
Exactly. So, and now back in the day, the low VOC paints were much more expensive. As it's become more ubiquitous, the price has come down. It's such an easy fix. And then you don't have to steer clear of your home for like 2 weeks after a paint job. So that's number one. However, after any paint job, open up the windows, let it air out as long as it's not pouring rain outside, because then all the moisture comes in and it makes it much harder or a much longer time for the paint to dry. So that's
Tracy, not to put you on the spot, but you live in California, so it's easy to open up your windows. What if you were in, I don't know,
Seattle.
Montana?
Right. In a rainy place, open up the windows ajar. It's going to take your paint longer to dry. I mean, you still want to because there are still some chemicals in paint. That's just the nature of the beast. So let it go. Turn your air conditioning on also will help it dry out. Actually, the heat helps it dry, but I always feel like the air conditioning makes it just move through the space faster. So
that is a good point. The heat speeds up the off-gassing of chemicals, VOCs, which a lot of people don't realize. Now, you don't really want to be in the house if you're doing that. Like if you're cranking the heat and you're getting all these off-gassing, good idea to leave.
Which is why open up your windows. In fact, they recommend you're supposed to open your windows at least once a week because all the air in your house just winds up recirculating. So you just open it up, get the bad juju out and the bad, smells and whatnot. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, again, another really inexpensive, easy fix. And you're going to be like, okay, everybody knows this. But I'm going to give you the reason why from a design point of view. Swap out your light bulbs to LED bulbs.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, duh, of course, incandescent is so last year or last decade. Incandescent bulbs, take more energy, so they're more expensive. LED light bulbs last longer, so that, of course, is better. Obviously, you have to purchase them less frequently. But forget all that. I'm here to talk to you about design. LED light bulbs back in the day were those horrible, swirly-looking bulbs and had this blue color. Everybody looked sickly, and they were horrible. Nowadays, they make LED bulbs that have different color temperatures. So the color temperature for you to look for is called 2700. It mimics an incandescent bulb. So nowadays, you almost can't even tell the difference between a proper incandescent and 2700 LED bulb. Now, if you've got a really beautiful light fixture that's got exposed bulbs, go for the Edison because they just look kind of fancy. However, you actually can get LED, air quoting here, Edison bulbs.
Okay.
So the Edison bulbs are the bulbs that show the
which
filament.
are very popular and trendy right now and so cute. Okay.
Right. And they come in 2700.
I never knew that number.
Anything
2700. Wow. Okay, good.
So here's how the
You're so smart, Tracy.
Goes. Oh, I know, right? Okay, so here's how it goes. 3,000 and under will make you look amazing. That's why we all look so good at candlelight. Why we like candlelight dinners. It gives us that warm glow, blows out the wrinkles. Anything above 3,000, so 3,000, 3,500, 4,000, those begin to mimic what's known as daylight. Oftentimes, you find those colors in workspaces because they are supposed to increase productivity. However, they make everybody look awful and they're very glaring. And they mimic, in my mind, a fluorescent bulb, even though it's supposed to do something different to your brain to make it feel like daylight outside. It does not do that for me. So I'm very much a believer in 3,000 and below.
That's interesting because have you ever been out to dinner and you go to the restroom and sometimes you go into a restroom and you're like, yowza, what is going on? Other times your face.
And you're like, wait, that's what I look like?
I've been on a date with my husband and poor guy. And then other times you go to a restaurant and it's the opposite, right? And you're like, dang, things are flowing tonight. Looking smooth.
Exactly. Low light, ladies, low light. And gentlemen, please. I mean, dudes, know what?
Thanks for including me. Thanks, Tracy. That's nice.
3,000 and below. If you want to look your best, 2700 is a replica of an incandescent bulb.
And you don't want the compact fluorescents. Do they even make those anymore?
I think they do, because there are relics of old light fixtures around. In fact, I was just in a client's house yesterday.
They had them, yeah. And they're obviously have mercury, so you just don't want them. They're toxic if broken.
I think they make a hack, an LED hack. So now that, it's been over a decade since we've all started to make the switch. So they now have plentiful options to service those fixtures. Okay, next thing. When you're reusing something, if it's got a nice shape, this is a horribly constructed sentence. Anything that has, let me turn this sentence around for you guys. If it's got a nice shape, you completely can reuse it. So what am I talking about? Let's say you've got an old-fashioned chair and you're like, oh my God, this chair is so outdated. But let's just say it's got like this fierce, like roundy, cool shape from maybe like, the 40s or something like that. If it's got a good shape, all you have to do is change out either the color of it or the fabric of it. So that to me is a huge thing in the eco, when thinking about doing a home in the eco sense, is reusing your stuff. Don't throw it out just to buy a new piece of crap. Fix or amend something that is older, but that still has some good points. Like me. I mean, I am older now. I still have some good points, so my husband's still using me,
Oh, Marty.
He's so resourceful.
He's resourceful. He's upcycled you. Well, that is awesome. I love that tip. You're right, because I think older furniture was made so much better. A lot of this cheap crap from China these days, why not just repurpose, give it a fresh new look with some new upholstery or paint or whatever. I know you're so good at this. I've seen your shows, and you're such a crafter. I love it.
Go on. So actually, so as you mentioned, Marty and I, my husband, we buy in investment properties. And our jam is to buy low, sell high. I buy them, and I'm a landlady. I'm like Mrs. Roper. Remember the TV show Three's Company? I'm like Mrs.
You're
Roper.
cuter than Mrs. Roper.
My floral dress I'm wearing today is not that.
That is
Mrs.
not.
Roper.
Yeah, that's very Mrs. Ropery.
I almost wore a dress that we affectionately refer to as my Mrs. Roper dress. I digress. So when I kind of have an affinity for places that are from like the 40s, 50s, and 60s, because they're just got like this cool old vibe and like nooks and built-ins and things like that. And oftentimes what I see in fellow investment property investment property investors, you know what I'm saying? They'll go in, they'll tear out a kitchen, a solid wood kitchen, they'll tear it out, and then they'll put in flat pack cupboards from a big box store or wherever. And listen, I like IKEA, and I think they have really good cabinets. So I'm not going to denigrate IKEA.
I'm not going to name names.
But there are other places, and and it's just like any hardware store, or whatever, has cupboards. But so developer will take out the solid wood cabinets and put in flat pack particle board cabinets that may look super duper crazy town cute. However, I always think to myself, I'm buying a property that's had wood cupboards in there since 1940. It is 2020 right now, although who knows when they're going to be listening to this podcast, but it's a long ass time. These cabinets have been around for 60, 80 years, and they're still standing. They've withstood dozens of earthquakes, and I'm going to rip out the solid wood cabinets, put in the flat pack particle. So what do? Sand them down, give them a fresh coat of paint. And that to me is the ultimate in eco-friendly, is just keeping what is good.
Quality.
Crap that shit.
I love that.
Yeah. And nothing beats wood
Tracy,
cabinets.
that's awesome. That's a great tip. Everybody's really into that right now. Everybody wants white kitchens and gray and white and all these, neutrals, and they're stuck with these brown cabinets, so they can just refinish and repaint. And I know they have cabinet paint now. That's great and easy supposedly to do. Yeah. And also you bring up the particle board boxed cabinets. I mean, they are loaded with formaldehyde, guys, typically, because that's what keeps those resins binded together. It's formaldehyde laden resin, and that's a carcinogen and a VOC, which we talked about earlier. So you don't want that. You don't want to be polluting your home more.
As well, if you don't want your kitchen, let's say you were to buy a flat pack kitchen and you you just don't want your cupboard to look like everybody else's. There are companies out there on the web that are not coming from China. You can buy door fronts, just door fronts to go on like IKEA cupboards, and they're made here in the States. So they're the chemical consistency, makeup, compound, whatever's put on top of it, is that which is mandated by the United States, not what is allowed in other countries.
Because their standards are much lower. Yeah. Oh, that's a great tip. Yeah, just do the door fronts. Okay.
And then you have a look that's slightly more customized.
Yeah, personalized.
Which I love. Okay, so next thing, carpet.
Wait, girls, what number are we on now? Is this number 4 or is this number 5?
It's 4. I have them in Roman numerals.
Thank you, Tracy.
So carpeting. A lot of people say, nay on carpeting. However, some people have to have carpeting in their bedrooms because you get in bed and you want your feet like all cozy and wiped off and whatever. And listen, in Southern California, it's certainly not terribly cold, but there are parts of the country and or world, because Lord knows this podcast could be listened to all over the world.
Thank you for that plug.
So carpeting. There are basically 2 kinds of carpeting, synthetic or wool. Let's guess which one is healthy. Wool, because it's natural. And I will say, I happen to have wool carpeting in my house. It is the most durable carpeting in the world. Lasts forever. If you buy a good quality carpeting, it will last and it won't stain, certainly if you take care of it. I have this saying that it's expensive to be cheap. So sure, you can buy really cheap, like synthetic carpeting, and you're like, great, it's amazing. It cost me X number of dollars a yard. And give it 5 years.
It's
and you're
like flat. I know.
Right, exactly. Underlayment is key with carpeting. But if you spend a couple of bucks more, your carpet could last a whole lot longer. So that's something to think about also when considering what's eco-friendly. Is it might be cheaper on the front end, but if you're having to replace it more often, guess what? A, it's more expensive financially, and B, it's more expensive environmentally.
And on a note on wool carpeting, just beware of moth proofing because you don't want to be.
Tell me about that.
Well, they add that treatment to wool carpeting typically. So you have to ask, I do not want the moth proofing treatment on there because that's a lot of caustic chemicals that can off gas.
Wow. I never even heard of that.
Because, moths are a big problem on the floor, apparently. Like, well, I don't know why they do it anyway.
That's so funny. I saw a moth in my house not long ago. Oh dear.
So, I mean,
I have no idea. My carpet's been moth-proofed.
Oh no, we got to do a little VOC test.
Well, maybe it wasn't because the moth was there, so maybe you're okay. You might have holes in your carpet, but
Ron, I like how you're thinking. Okay, numero 5. For those of you that don't speak Spanish, that's 5. So let's say you are getting rid of the kitchen, and even if it is a wood kitchen and it's against Tracy Metro's wishes that you pull the whole darn thing out, if you do, here is something that is perhaps one of the loveliest things I think one can do when renovating one's home. Called donation. Thoughtfully pull out your cupboards and donate them to a place. There are loads of facilities. There are stores that resell full kitchens, Habitat for Humanity being one of them. Speak with your local Habitat if there is one. Sometimes they want to see it before you pull it out, but you have to thoughtfully pull it out. You can't take a crowbar. It needs to be
You can't go on Chip Gaines on the cabinet. Demo day.
No
demo day. You got to be nice to your cabinets.
Exactly. Because think about it. It might not be right for you, but it might be perfect for somebody else. It might be great for somebody's garage or workshop, or maybe somebody's building a little cottage in the back of their home and they don't want to go and spend X number of dollars on cupboards. So donation, I think is a beautiful thing. And you can do that with appliances as
And
well.
Habitat for Humanity is a great resource. I didn't know they accepted that. So that's great.
Yes. Now, if you are demoing your entire home, you can also thoughtfully do that. And it takes a little bit more on the front end, but guess what? I'm not your tax accountant. You can get a wonderful write-off on your taxes for the donation.
Yeah.
So it all has to be separated. There are companies that will thoughtfully demolish your home and separate wood beams and metal and, scrap and what can be recycled, what can be reused. There are loads of places. Let's say you're completely over. Oh, do you guys hear that? That's my dog,
Bernie.
He was shaking.
We need a cameo. You have to pick him up.
Yeah, Burns, come here.
He's gone.
He's
Chihuahua.
gone. He went to go lay
so
in the
cute.
sun. So there are people that don't want the vintage old wood floors. There are other people around the corner from where you live that are jonesing for those vintage old
Who are these
wood
people?
floors.
Who are these crazy people who don't want vintage old floors?
I don't know, but I think they do need to go see my therapist.
Go see Tracy's therapist. Something's wrong.
Exactly, because they're like gold. I'll tell you, every time I go look at a property that I'm about to buy, I lift up the corner and I'm like, is there wood under here?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like old wood is like heaven.
Yeah. And you can do anything with that. You could paint it, right? You could paint your wood floors. You could stain. You
absolutely can. And you can have them refinished. There's a certain number of times that a wood floor can be refinished. And then you can bring it back to all of its old, wonderful luster. And what I love is these floors have been down for many, many, many years and decades. And they've had a lot of people living on them in general. So they have these great stories to tell. I love it when the floors have all these imperfections. For me, that tells the story of the house. I have a concept that we'll talk about a little bit later, but it's called wabi-sabi.
I've heard of wabi-sabi.
It's the concept of perfection in imperfection. And
Is that wasabi?
That's exactly where wasabi comes from. It imperfectly goes up your nose, and you're no.
Ron ate a whole ball of it once.
Okay.
And a bet. Ron had a bet with his friend and ate a whole ball. And it was like $100 bet. And the guy went across the street to the ATM and got him his $100. Then as soon as we left, Ron's like, my stomach hurts.
I bet it does.
I said that was an example of the front end, actually the opposite of your story. Front end was okay. Not very good. So, yeah.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, it was a rough few hours for me, but I did 100%. Nice.
Okay, so where are we? Number 7. I think now everybody probably is doing this, but it's worth repeating. Low flow toilets and faucets. Most people, don't you think, are concerned that, if I put a low flow shower head in, it's going to be trickling and I'm not going to be able to get the shampoo out of my 100%. Hair.
Yeah, that's the big fear everybody has. Yep. But they have those aerators, right? And they come out a lot stronger than you'd think.
Exactly. And that's all they've done is aerate. So basically what that means is they're putting air into that same little hole where the water was coming out. So, and it's pressurized. So it's feeling like you have a lot of pressure. It's just not a ton of water. So, and with the toilets, nowadays you can buy the dual flush toilets for your home, and they're not crazy expensive the way they used to be.
Oh yeah. Okay. Good to know.
And if you pee, let it be, right? If it's poo, flush it through. You guys don't pee, let it be?
Pee, let it be? Really? You don't flush it when you pee? We are getting personal today.
No. Yeah. I mean, listen, if you drink a ton of water, the pee is like virtually
your pee should be
right.
Your pee should be white, right? I mean, we are going down a tangent here, but it's true. Ron and I drink a ton of water. I drink sparkling water a lot, mineral water, and I can tell. It needs to be white. If it's not, you are dehydrated. That's another evidence.
Exactly. And by white, you're talking about the color of the toilet bowl because your pee is not white.
Clear.
Your pee is
You're right. Yeah,
yellow
it should
or
be
clear.
It should be clear. No dark yellow.
No. Okay. Wow. You know what? Everybody at home that's listening to this or on your walk, you're welcome for us talking
Go
about
home and check your pee. Okay.
Okay. Next thing, and I know Jack diddly squat about this, but word on the street is water catchment systems off the roof line of your home are huge. I'm like the world's worst gardener, so I know I'm supposed to have one. But I don't know.
We don't either. Either.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
It's like a confession session.
Confessions of a greenie.
Exactly. But listen, we can always do something better. And I have a girlfriend who's a landscape designer. And for some reason, I just refused to say, hey, come bring me one of those horrendous barrels and put it on the side of my house and use that to water my garden.
It just hasn't come up in conversation.
I'm a douche. Okay.
I'm surprised you're not good at gardening because you're so good at you're like the Martha Stewart of green, I think. This girl gets down and dirty with the sander and the saws. And I mean, she's not afraid to do anything. And so, you're really good at, and I'm guessing you cook. I do. Cook too.
Yeah.
You cook,
my massive Achilles heel and blind spot is gardening. And I now know why. Because when I do interior design, I can design a place and it looks amazing. And then I just tell my clients, hey, follow these rules. Keep this here, don't move that, And it's fixed and it's finished and it's encapsulated. You take a picture of it and it's done. Gardening is something that evolves over time and has seasons and changes. Oh, mama, don't play that. No.
Yeah.
No.
You want to see the results of your work, right? You want to be like, I'm done and it's so beautiful. You don't want to wait till the flowers bloom kind of thing. Yeah.
And then they die and then it changes.
It's depressing.
Actually why I quite like drought tolerant, because they aren't quite as grow, not grow, bloom, not bloom, need to be hacked back. And like rose bushes. I don't get rose bushes, you guys.
Listen, I'm like you. We are green girls that don't have green thumbs, apparently.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I mean, I have nothing, a couple plants. That's it.
It's the biggest joke in our house. I kept something alive. That's why I get cut flowers. I kept something alive. I have an orchid on my coffee table. Had it for 4 months.
They last forever.
It's amazing how long I've not killed it. So
just give it a little ice cube, right? You're supposed to put an ice cube in it.
Yep, exactly. That's the extent of my knowledge.
Yeah.
But yes. Okay. Now, I think we talked about this. We touched on a little bit a couple of numbers ago. Number 9 is buying used and rethinking things like old furniture. We talked about if you have something that is old, can you refresh it? But guess what? You can actually even go out there in the world and buy something used, not brand new, and it can still be amazing.
Yeah.
You can go on an app like Nextdoor. You can go to a place like Goodwill, if that even existed. I mean, it's like going out into the world existed. And you can even find things on the curb. So those are used. That to me is one of the best green tips I have, is to not always have to buy new.
And like you said, you want the character of the old stuff. The new stuff doesn't really have that,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You have to imbue that into new stuff to make it feel like it's got a story to tell. I'm all about the story. What's the storytelling?
What's the story? Yeah.
And then the very last thing. Yes. Mm-hmm. And then the very, very last thing are solar panels. They're great. We have solar panels on our house. We've had them forever and ever and ever. And there is nothing better than having that electric bill come and it's like $2.
Oh my God. Do you ever get your...
You are a showboat.
That's why and then she can spend all that extra money on buying some used things and fixing them up. Yeah. Have you ever gotten a bill where they owe you money?
So my plan isn't that plan. We did it a long time ago. And so, how
but
the plans all change. Yeah.
I love it. We're in a community. We're in a master plan community, so we can't do it. Unfortunately, they are very particular about the homeowners association, about the roofs and all of that. So that's a bummer. But I think someday that will change. It's got to, especially here in California.
That's shocking. In this year, 2020, that's not a thing. I mean, the homeowners association could take all the money, for God's sake, and put it in the coffers.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, exactly. We're in Orange County. So people who know Orange County, California, it's very, I don't know, people say cookie cutter, although I don't think it's cookie cutter because we have beautiful cliffy beaches and a lot of character, but a lot of the master plan.
We're defensive, Tracy.
But Tracy, it's Orange County. Tracy's favorite color.
That's my favorite color. That's my favorite color.
I know. And I haven't even seen you in 10 years. And I just know that because we're looking at her now in her office. It's orange wall and ceiling.
It is.
Her boat, her houseboat is orange themed.
Yeah.
Your website is orange themed.
It's a problem.
It's a problem.
So it's funny you should bring up the color orange because that's the next thing I wanted to talk about. And it's not in my top 10 list, but it's about when making over one's home, thinking about color.
Mm-hmm.
Or everyone's like, why do you like orange so much? And that's how people talk. And the reason is, it's because orange is such a happy color. It's a vibrant color. It's an energizing color. And in my office, I have zero interest in being calm. I'm in here to get shit done.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be energized, which is why I love orange. And orange just is my personality.
Yeah, it is. You are an orange girl. Yeah.
Whatever.
But Tracy, the orange chakra is linked to something else too. We all know what that is, right?
The sexual chakra. It's the sexual center.
I didn't want to say
Tracy.
it. So Lisa jumped in.
I didn't know that.
Playing dumb. Playing coy.
So colors are key. And whoosh, I just so happen to have the color wheel right in front of me. I have them like all over my desk. It wasn't a planned prop. When designing your home, I think it's super important to think about how you're going to use a space. Nowadays, most people aren't really leaving their homes all that often. So how you feel in your home is key. A lot of people are feeling trapped and claustrophobic and this, that, and the other thing. So bedrooms tend to be places of calm. Would you want to have an orange bedroom, a red bedroom, a very loud, vibrant, aggressive feeling?
Hey guys, for you listeners, Tracy just pulled out a color wheel, and you might be going, what the heck is a color wheel? Tracy, can you explain what that is? What do you use it for?
Yes. A color wheel is a round disc where it's got the Roy G. Biv, the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple colors noted on it. And it shows you what colors work in a complementary fashion, a split complementary fashion. Interior designers use it, painters use it, and people that just fancy colors often use it. Just Google it. They're really great. I mean, obviously I do interior design, so it's a really valuable tool for me. But I think if you're, say, designing a website or you're working on your Instagram feed and you want to evoke a certain emotion or a feeling, it's a valuable thing to look at in terms of getting a message across. So there are loads of websites out there that can help you put together color combinations if that's a blind spot of yours, that you're like, ooh, I like aqua. Okay, I'm building a website. I like aqua. Well, what colors would look great with aqua? If you look at the color wheel, you can go across the color spectrum and you go, ooh, a red orange would look amazing, and then a white or whatever. Anyway, they build it for you. Really, really helpful. Thank you. I'm so sorry that was super insider and kind of jerky of me. So that's what a color wheel is. It's a guide to mixing color.
Yeah. And so important. You're right about it, that I think people have a lot of trouble with, oh, I like a color. And then they kind of go crazy with one color in their home or even a website. You know, we've seen, and then not understanding that it's the layers of the colors and how they play on each other that kind of evokes that mood and that feeling and that real beauty. You know, you can't just go, boom, one color. You've got to, especially in your home.
I mean, you could if you're going for like a really stylized look. Most people are not about that. So I have this theory that every space should have 3 points of one color. So let's just say you're in a living room and the walls are white. Lisa, I'm looking at the room behind you. It's a perfect example.
It's my virtual background for those of you listening.
So it's white.
Oh, there you go. There's the bookcases.
There you go. And so this room is white for all the listeners at home. It's got a wood floor. It's got like a whiskey brown leather sofa, and then 2 side chairs that are black. And then there's another cushion in the back that's black. And then the fireplace surround is black. So the quote color, I know people are like, black is not a color. Black is a color, okay? So is white. So your eye is walking in the room, and your eye goes, black. I see black on that chair. Wait, where's the next bit of black? Oh, I see black on that cushion. Wait, where's the next bit of black? I see black on the fireplace surround. So you want to have 3 points of color. Okay. Now, I would also recommend have like a fun, fashionable, happy color, and put it in a place that's that where it can be easily replaceable and in an inexpensive place, like cushions, like throws, like little nickety knacks. Okay. That way, if you ever get sick of the fuchsia, the orange, the aqua, the whatever, it's just an inexpensive fix, and you can completely change the look and feel of a room.
That is a great tip. So Tracy, with those 3 colors, so if your palette is, say, neutral in this situation, say we have whites, grays, browns, and blacks, are you saying each color needs 3 points or just your primary?
Excellent. Thank you for the clarification. Your overall colors, your main colors can be utilized wherever. That's really not terribly clear. Let me be more specific. The highlight color. A lot of people call it the pop. I really need to give a better word besides the pop. But the little zats of color, that needs to have 3 points. The thing that you want people to pay attention to, the thing that's going to curate the mind, how to view the room.
Okay.
So your mind follows color.
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go. So the bedroom you want to be, in general, these are broad strokes. And somebody can say, Tracy, I have a red bedroom and it's amazing. Great. That's awesome. Works for you. Most people want a bedroom that's quite calming, which is why you often find creams and whites and blues and greens.
Right. And hospitals too. Hospitals, greens and blues, because they're very calming. And
prisons as well. Prisons as well. Prisons as well. It's true.
We don't want red in a prison. And then fast food restaurants, for reds and yellows and oranges, because it's speedy. They want you in and out. They don't want you lingering and getting too comfy. And
they want to energize you. Yep.
They want to, and the hard seats, all of that is very thought through. I don't think a lot of people realize that. And so, our color plays such a big part. Ron and I, we learned about the chakras and all that part of spirituality. And Ron takes it to a level because blue is your throat chakra, right? Blue is your speaking voice. So like if Ron's doing a presentation or something, he'll wear blue. Like we take it all the way to the clothes. So
it's deeply thought out.
I like that. So yesterday, okay, we're getting personal, y'all. Is that
we are? We've already gone down the urine.
We have. Yesterday I had cupping, and have you ever had cupping?
I know. I've always wanted to try it.
So they put these little suction cups on you, and then they pressurize it, and then, your skin gets sucked up into the little cup. And then if you have, this is kind of gross, but it's called blood cupping or liquid cupping. They they remove the little tube thingy, and then they poke little holes, and our guy goes, ouchie, 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 and he pokes you. Then he puts the thing back on and puts the pressure, and the wet cupping sucks out the bad blood and puts in, to.
Is it like a vampire face?
Pretty much, but it's done in various parts of your body. Yesterday.
So it's your own blood coming in and out?
It's your own blood leaving too, and it's so that it doesn't. Nothing is put back in you. I'm kind of horrible at describing this, but anybody who's interested.
Is it painful? Is it painful?
No, it's not painful until they do it on the bottom of your feet, which is what happened to me yesterday. Holy mother of pain.
Whoa.
It turns out that's that, and then I guess the lower back are the two most painful spots. Yeah. It was not comfortable. All of this was to say, I was trying to go to my quote happy place. And it's funny, you mentioned blue being in the throat chakra, Ron, because I said, okay, I need to sit here and I need to think of a color. And blue was the color that
wow. So you immediately knew.
I had no idea. I must have.
And then purple is your purple's your third eye. So that would be your connection to spirit, higher self. That's why you see a lot of purples in spiritual websites. Always a lot of purples and pinks and those colors.
Right. I'm going to have to bring purple into some bedrooms, I think. Mm-hmm. Just a little bit. It doesn't have to be so overt and here's purple, everybody.
Yeah, right.
Just a little. Maybe it's just a box or how many points, you guys, of purple now?
3.
Thank you.
We would want a bench, maybe a vase, and
yep.
throw pillow.
Yes, you got it. Yeah. You don't need me. You got it.
I know now. No, I love that.
I'm glad you didn't test me because I would have failed that test. So that's good.
Ron, I'll get you next time.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. Thank you for the warning.
Purple and grays are really pretty, and purple
beautiful.
And grays and neutrals because it is such a strong color.
And silver.
Tracy, right off the bat, if we're wanting to sell a home, what are 3 tips, and I know you know them, 3 tips to help us sell quickly and sell high?
Okay, I just went through a client's house yesterday. First of all, edit. What does that mean? When you're making a movie, Not that the three of us have ever probably edited a movie.
Oh yeah, I do that every day.
Right. Leave stuff on the cutting room floor, right? You can't show the whole film. You got to cut it up. You can't have a 10-hour movie. You got to have a 2-hour movie or less, right? Get rid of more than you think. I would rather walk into a home as a buyer that has too little stuff than too much. Too much stuff stuffs up the mind and unknowingly makes people stressed out for a variety of reasons. One of which is, oh my God, there's so much stuff in here. I can't imagine my stuff fitting in here. And if there's all this stuff in here, how do I know that all my stuff's going to fit? And it just winds up sending you down a road to not riches, to not selling your house. So getting rid of as much stuff as humanly possible, with it still reading as a lived-in home, I think shows your house the best. That would be number one. Now, I know a lot of people are down with their religion and down with sexiness. However, be down with your religion and be down with your sexiness on your own time. Yeah. If you are trying to sell your house, get rid of religious art and get rid of sexy art. I have seen some shit, y'all. Do not have a naked lady riding bareback on a pig, okay? It might be fun and fabulous, but
listen,
no.
Don't have that even if you're not selling your home. Just get rid of it.
It just, what it does is when people leave your house, if they even deign to walk into your home to see it, you're lucky to get people to come see your home. You know, the market in general, despite how crazy everything is in the world, properties are hot right now. So despite that, you don't want your home to be the one where they're constantly saying, oh, you remember the house with the naked lady on the pig?
Yeah.
The naked guy on the pig? That's all they're remembering from your house. They're not remembering how they felt when they walk in. They're not remembering, God, our couch would look so cool next to the blah, 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 blah. So those kind of things, all they do is take a buyer out of imagining what their life will be like in your home. You want them to walk in and go, oh my God, if I buy this house, I can have this life. I can have the life they're having. You're selling a dream. And I think that's the thing people forget when they're selling a home. They're just like, but I don't need to fix it because the people that come in are just going to do it. To that, I say, pshaw, not so, because a lot of times people have saved all of their money for the down payment. They've saved all of their money to, oh, sorry, I live in the city. Sorry for the noise, y'all. I'm fine.
Give us a smoke signal.
So people have saved all their money to buy the house. They may not have an extra $1,000 to repaint, to recarpet, to redo. But for you, if you are selling higher than what you owe on the house, if you don't own your home outright, it's worth spending a couple of bucks to make it turnkey for somebody else. Unless you are selling a pure fixer. Pure fixer, that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, there's just no hope there. Just you get what you get.
Exactly. And then the last thing is a take on the first thing about the edit. I want to be real specific about putting things away, like vacuums and brooms and massive things like bicycles.
Dog bowls, pet beds, dog bowls.
Dog bowls are okay. Massive pet bed beds. Say that 3 times. Massive pet bed.
Massive pet bed. Massive pet
bed. I'll work on that one and get back to y'all. If your vacuum doesn't have a closet, not a corner, a closet, or an out-of-the-way place in your home, like a basement or someplace hidden, put it at a friend's house for the showing, because
put it in the car.
Right, always stuff up your car and drive it, off-site.
Drive around.
Reason being, if your vacuum is sitting out during a showing, somebody walks in and they're like, wait, these people have lived in this house for 20 years and they've never found a place for their vacuum. Well, then I'm going to move into this house and I'm guessing I'm not going to find a place for my vacuum.
Yeah.
You don't want that to be even a blip on the mind of somebody. You want somebody to come in and forget that they even have a vacuum, that they're going to need a vacuum closet. If you show them that you don't have a vacuum closet, you've already told them there's no storage in this home. Don't move in.
I remember J-Lo years ago said, show them your highlight reel. Like don't point out problems, show your highlight reel. And I always thought that was a great quote. And I guess that goes with your home. You're showing your highlight reel. We don't want to see your laundry. We don't want to see your massive pet bed or your vacuum. And I've also heard, do not take down family photos, because like everything you just said, you're selling them their dream. They don't want to see your family photos. They want to envision that their pictures are going to be there. So take all those down and just either use stock photos or.
Okay. So I feel very differently about that. I think that is the weirdest thing. Like I think it's so creepy to walk in and see stock photos. So creepy to walk in and see that you've taken your family out of picture frames. I think that is so disingenuous.
Well, what about just taking the frames down?
Sure.
Not like blank frames.
Sure. Remove them.
Yeah, remove them is what
empty frames or BS photos.
No, empty frames would be weird. That would be creepy.
And so are BS photos. So you can have like a photo or two. It's okay. If you've got a huge family portrait on your fireplace.
Yeah, that's true.
It's okay as long as it's not like on everywhere. You know what I mean? I think
like overdone.
Exactly. I think it's about the overdoing, but the underdoing and undoing, to me, tells me that you're hiding something, and that gives me a creepy feeling. Oh, and when you're buying a house, you're buying what? A dream.
The dream. Yeah.
You're buying a dream. And if you walk into a dream that you feel weird, you're not going to know why you feel weird. You're just going to go, something feels off. You're not buying a house where you feel like it is off.
Yeah, right.
So
that's a great point. Cold.
This is Tracy Metro. This is just Tracy Metro 101. Listen to three people, hear what three people's opinions are, but that's my opinion.
Tracy Metro, where can people find you?
Oh, they could go to my website, tracymetrodesigns.com.
tracymetrodesigns.com. And when you go to her website, you get to take a little ride on a metro. Really, I'm not kidding.
That's my TV site, my design. That's just tracymetro.com. That's why I've not updated in a long ass time. I need to fix that. But anywho,
very cool.
But also on the grams, I'm Tracy Metro, TRACY Metro, like the bus. So
okay, find her on the Rams. But going back to this, this is such a big issue. I'm going to jump to clutter because we're talking about not only decluttering your home if you're trying to sell it, but just clutter in general. A lot of people have issues. They get overwhelmed and buried. And going back to energy, this manifests in your life. Like if you have a lot of clutter, you'll find like stuck energies in and around your life too. So what's a great way that people can organize their home without losing their mind?
So Marie Kondo is kind of a darling these days, right?
Right.
Does your stuff bring you joy? And I'm down with that. However, I'm like a little less Pollyanna about it. I'm a little more think Tyra Banks. Like, is your stuff strutting itself? Like you need your business to walk the runway, or imagine like it's a gymnast in the Olympics and they do the routine and then the judges flash up the card from 1 through 10. That was a 10, Mary Lou Retton, right? That kind of a thing. So I think your stuff has to earn its keep. Not does it bring you joy, but does it provide value? So does it earn its keep? So here's how I like to do it. First off the bat, I can tell you your space, 90% of us, your space could do with having 50%, certainly when selling your home. It could do with having 50% of the crap in it that it currently does. So we need to do a clean sweep, remove all the extraneous bits that are out that are clogging the mind when you come in and walk into a space. Take it all off. Then look at every single thing, and every single thing has to have a value 1 through 10. And everything can't be a 10. Sorry, it cannot. You have to be honest here. If you want to change, you have to be honest. So, but it's not so difficult. So you give things 1 through 4, you know what? I really, really don't need those pile of rocks on my desk. They're cute. I don't need them. That gets a 1. So anything that's 1 through 4, you put that in a box and you put it in the garage. Then anything that has a 5, 6, or a 7, those things, let's say it's a really cute bowl that you like, doesn't necessarily hold any emotional value. You like it and you use it because it's there, but you maybe could live without it. If it's somewhere like, if it feels like that, it gets a 5, 6, or a 7. That gets boxed up and put in a closet in that room. Take a picture of every single thing that goes in that box and then print it out and put it on the side of the box. So at least you know what's in that box and you don't have to.
Oh, that's such a great tip right
Oh,
there.
good.
I love that.
Good.
Yeah.
So you don't have to. Then you've got your 8, 9, and 10. Those are things that you could not possibly live without. Oh my goodness, I could not live without having my little sign that says, in my office, every day I'm hustling. Somebody gave this to me. I love that sign. Like, I have to have that in my office. I love that.
It inspires you.
Exactly. It makes me feel happy. So whatever those 8, 9, and 10 items are, they get to stay out. Then over the next month, 2 months, 3 months, if there's any part of you that says, oh man, I need that pile of rocks, you go to the garage and you grab just the pile of rocks and you can bring those back. If after that period of time, you haven't gone back to that box, donate it, give it away, sell it. Same goes true for the stuff that was in the 4, 5, 6 box that's in the office or the space wherever you are. I just like to make that easier so you're not feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm getting rid of it and there's stress.
Right. Yeah, there's anxiety, right?
So it's nearby. It's still nearby and you can access it at a moment's notice. So for me, that's a very easy way to clear out the clutter, but not feel like you're being robbed. Now, if you are a hoarder, and I just was in somebody's home helping them who's this side of hoarding, that's a different thing, and that really does require professional help. So this is for general population who just has too much crap in their home.
Oh, my heart goes out to hoarders. Ron and I are both Virgos. We're like double Virgo energy in this house. So we don't have a clutter problem. We actually are clutter free and we, work hard at that, but it does free up energy and it makes you feel lighter. Tracy, you have been incredible. I have learned so much. I know everybody listening has too. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. And where can people find you one more time?
TracyMetroDesigns.com on the internets or Tracy Metro on Instagram.
Awesome.
Follow me, please. Follow
her. Go find a
She is incredible.
She's a ball of orange. Now. She's a ball of orange energy. And I want to leave you guys with one of my favorite quotes. Have nothing in your house that you do not know to be useful or believe to be beautiful. William Morris. Tracy, do you have a mantra you want to leave us with?
I like that. William Morris made such beautiful wallpaper. Oh my gosh. Anyway, Gore, just beautiful, beautiful back in the day. Just really like Great Gatsby. Anyway, yes, I do have a mantra. If you don't update, you're out of date.
Ooh, get updated. Whoa. That goes for your computer, your home, your
hairdo,
your wardrobe.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Don't forget to take our free 7-day Healthy at Home Challenge at bit.ly/the Healthy at Home Challenge to up-level your health today. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did. And be sure to tune in next week for another very special episode and to find out what the heck is going on in your home. Bye-bye.
This episode of the Healthy Home Hacks podcast has ended, but be sure to subscribe for more healthy living strategies and tactics to help you create the healthy home you've always dreamed of. And don't forget to rate and review so we can continue to bring you the best content. See you on the next episode.